Hey, good morning, everybody. My name's Amy Howard, and welcome to Maker Monday. If you have never been part of our Maker Monday, this is going to be a new, exciting thing that you're going to want to mark on your calendar because we want to teach you how to be able to craft a beautiful life. So we have a whole lot of different products here at a Maker Studio that allows you to be able to DIY your house, meaning if you want to rescue and restore your kitchen or your bathroom or a piece of furniture, but also I want to be able to show you how you can make original art out of things that you're going to be rescuing from either Goodwill or Habitat. It's a really fun, easy project that you can have where you can enjoy the bragging rights by having people come over to your house and say, yes, I even make my own artwork. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you have is a frame from Habitat or Goodwill, or maybe you can even go shopping in your attic. These are a really easy thing to find and get. And I will tell you as a rule, I can get a picture frame for about $1 or $2 at the most. I want you to take a glance over here of what happened when we rescued and restored these picture frames. Now, on this feather art project that we're going to show you today, you're going to want to have 3 frames. And the reason I say you want to be able to have 3 frames is because we're going to lay the feathers out from our stencil to be able to have different positions, which is going to create a gallery effect. Let me come over here and let me show you what I'm talking about. So, by having, these were rescued, of course you can have them different sizes if you want to, but we want to be able to lay one of the feathers out on the watercolor paper that you're going to see that if you decide to get this kit that you can use. So one will be laid in the center of it. Another one we're going to have it to where it's going to start off the paper and come so the composition is a little different. And then the third one you could have even at a different position. And I'm going to show you. So I would prefer that you try to get 3 pictures and then we're going to frame them kind of together in a gallery setting, which is going to make it a lot of fun instead of just doing one. You know, very much on trend right now is a gallery setting. And the part of the reason why we talk about gallery, what does that mean? It means layering and stacking pictures in a position on a wall where you've got maybe a piece of artwork, or maybe you've got a sign that you've painted with all the Maker Studio products, or maybe you've got this grouping of 3 feathers. You just want to stack all these different pictures and textures and paintings on one wall. Makes it very interesting and it fills it up. I even used to do galleries settings on my staircase, going up my stair. I would fill it all the way to the ceiling. It makes it a lot of fun. You can also use one accent wall. Let's say in your kitchen. Take one wall in your kitchen and fill it up with artwork that you've done. It's even a great opportunity to frame your children's artwork. So if you want to be able to go to Habitat or Goodwill like this, you can paint it with our Rescue Restore paint. You can even paint the mats and put your children's art in it and make it a lot of fun. All right, so one of the great things too about these Maker Mondays is that we have created these kits for you. How many times have you gone to a craft store or a hobby store and you've left with spending $150 on a bunch of stuff and you don't have anything that you can actually finish a project? We've solved that problem for you. We are putting together into kits that you can order on the website, a Maker Studio, whatever maker invited you to be able to see this. That way you can go to his or her website, click on there, order it, and we're going to ship it right out to you. So you'll be able to do this project yourself in your own home. So if you order the kit that is the feather art, you're going to be receiving 2 gel inks. One is called Well I Declare, which makes it a lot of fun to be able to work with all of our products. We go in and make sure they have really cute names. It just makes it a little bit more fun. You're also going to be getting a beautiful dark navy ink. You're going to be getting a Rescue Restore paint in Blessed. You're also going to be getting a Maker Studio 1.5-inch synthetic brush. You're going to get a Maker Studio artist brush. You're going to be getting the this feather stencil that can also be used for newborns. I love it just strictly because of the detail of it. It's really beautiful to be able to use on artwork like we're getting ready to show you. And then you're going to get 3 watercolor papers. This is artist quality watercolor paper that you would use for beautiful paintings, but we're going to use it for our inks and with our stencils. All right, so all this is going to come in your kit. And then the only other thing you're going to need is you're going to need to go to Habitat or your attic or a friend's house and get 3 frames. Now, we don't care what's in the frame. They can be ugly. Sadly, this isn't a real pretty picture and the quality is not really high a lot of times, but we're just going after the frame. So the first thing you want to do, I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to put this over here. And then I want you to be able to just take the back. Now you see you're going to need to have something that's, I usually use a metal trowel or something to be able to, or spreader, to be able to go in underneath these staples and just lift this up. That's going to allow that back to come off. So you'll see there's just little staples all along the framework. So just pull that up like that. There's going to be a type of cardboard backing on it. You want to just take that off. I'm going to set that aside. It looks like the cardboard backing and this lovely bird picture are all together, so I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take out this mat. So this mat is going to become the mat for my picture. So it probably, I would like it if you would use a square mat with the feather. Make sure whatever shapes that you have are all the same on your feather art project. So I could come in and I could cut this out and make it more into a rectangle with some scissors and then paint it. So I'm going to set this aside for just a second. I'm going to show you what to do with that. And then now I'm going to take my Blessed Rescue Restore paint and I'm going to paint my mat. You know what's so great about the Rescue Restore paint is the fact that you can use this on furniture. I can turn around and use this on my frame. I can use it on paper. I can use it on plastic, melamine. You can paint your kitchen cabinets with this paint. The other thing that you may not know about a Maker Studio products is we put essential oils in our paints so they don't smell like paint. They smell, kind of has a vanilla smell to it because guess what? It has vanilla essential oils in it along with 2 or 3 other notes. So it smells great. It smells like you're baking while you're working on a project or even painting a piece of furniture. But the great thing is you can use this Rescue Restore paint to paint this mat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're just going to paint the entire mat. I'd like for you to do long, clean strokes like this. Try not to lay your brush down too many times because that way you'll get start and stop in it. Start and stop. I tell people it's a lot like painting your nails, and I hate to use this analogy with guys because they're like, well, I don't paint my nails. But load up the brush to where it'll hold enough paint so you can go boom, boom. You wouldn't sit there and just keep brushing it because it'll get gummy, it'll double process, and you'll see the stop and start. So the same thing I want you to do is load up your brush with this paint, and then I want you to come back and in long, clean strokes be able to paint your mat, all right? So that way, I'm not laying the brush down and lifting it and then laying it down and lifting it. I want it to be long, clean strokes like this. All right, so you're going to want to probably put 2 nice coats. I'm going to set this down here because I'm not going to be, I've got another mat that I'm going to be working with. And then I want you to be able to take your glass. If you want, you can take it out. For this morning, I may, let me see if I can take this out. I can go on and lift this just to be able to show you. If not, I'll just keep it in there. All right. So the other thing you probably want to do, have we got some tape so I could just show them? You may want to just lay some painter's tape down on this glass if you can't get the glass out. So that way you don't want to get the paint on the glass. You can paint glass, so I just want to make sure that we keep it nice and clean. All right, so the same brush that you used for the mat, I want you to come back and you're going to use it on your frame itself. So let me just take some painter's tape. And I'm just going to lay it down. I'm going to tuck it underneath my frame right there, so that way it's nice and protected. And it'll make it a lot easier as far as for cleanup. If you're just tuning in with us, my name is Amy Howard, and we are a maker studio, and we are doing our Maker Monday project. You can tune in with us every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to show you a different project every week to be able to make your home more beautiful, to be able to create artwork, to be able to create projects that you can enjoy the bragging rights from. All right, so I've made sure that I've cleaned my frame really well. I'm using the same Rescue Restore paint, and I'm just going to come in and I'm going to paint my frame. Again, I want you to do long, clean strokes. You're going to be really surprised how far this little 2-ounce container of paint goes. Now look at that. You probably want to do 2 coats on this, but you can get really good coverage with just one. Now look how I'm going to go on the side. Just turn it to the side like this. Long, clean strokes. So you're going to be able to paint your mat as well as all 3 frames, because we want to get 3 frames. So I'm not going to work on the whole thing. I just want to be able to show you how to do long, clean strokes with this. And if you like this project, if you think this is something that you would like to do, we've made it easy for you. All you have to do is go to the website that you see, the person that shared this with you, and you're going to be able to do this art yourself. We're going to ship it all together to you. All right, so here is a smaller frame that we had done prior to me going live. I'm just going to wipe a little bit of my paint up here. So it's already finished, and I'm setting it over here. This is the mat that came with it. So you can see it's going to go in like that. Now I want to be able to take my watercolor paper. So you'll get 3 sheets of artistic watercolor paper. It's going to be very important that you work with watercolor paper, not just a regular paper. It's going to absorb differently. And then I want you to take out your stencil. If you're not familiar with the Maker Studio stencils, they're a patented process that allows you to be able to work with a special material that gives an incredible amount of detail, and guess what? They're reusable. So you can use these stencils on glass, you can use them on paper, you can use them on furniture, a whole lot of different surfaces. Now, you'll notice on this stencil that it has a backing. It's because it's adhesive. And it also has these little lines that are in it. Those are cut lines. Those allow you to be able to go in and be able to cut out that particular area of the stencil where you can just use it. You don't have to use the whole thing. Here's the other thing. If you look at it, you've literally got 12 different stencils here. You can use these numbers separately on a different project. You can use newborn, you can use any of these, as well as the feather. So you can just cut these up. And I like keeping the little bag that it comes in, so that way I can pop the stencils back in there and use it at a later time. So these lines are strictly for you to be able to cut this up and to be able to use them for individual projects. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside. And this is the little bag that I'm talking about. I want to put this back in the bag and store that. I talk a lot about DIY pantries. You can even have a little notebook that with sleeves that you can slip these inside them as far as storing, or get a little Tupperware container and pop all your stencils in there, because there's something that you can use over and over and over again. All right, so remember we talked about with our frames that you want to be able to have the 3 different pictures. I want you to position this particular feather 3 different ways. So you think about how you're going to hang the stencil, hang the artwork. So let's just say I'm going to hang this one horizontally. I want to think about where the stencil is going to be positioned on the paper, and I'm going to probably just lay this one to the side like this. So that way it would be coming from the top of this into the center of the piece. Does that make sense? Is everybody understanding that? All right. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to lay this on my paper about right here. That way I can cut it to fit into the mat itself. So I'm going to lay this down. Now you're going to notice when I'm working with this particular stencil, it has a backing on it. That means it's adhesive. And you can clean it in water, and you can do it over and over again. And I'll show you how to clean it in just a minute when we're finished. All right, so I'm gonna take this backing off. Now, when you start to pull this apart, you're gonna tell that it's got some tension to it, and you can feel it and feel that stickiness to it. So you just wanna make sure that you take your time, allow it to kind of separate like that. Be real careful that it doesn't stick together because it'll be harder to be able to get it apart. And I'm gonna lay the stencil about right here, because remember, it's where I want it to be positioned in my piece of art that I've got. I'm just gonna tell you, once you start working with this and you do it, you're gonna be addicted. We are makers. We love crafting things. We love making things. I love making gifts for people. I think it's a lot of fun to be able to make a gift for someone, especially with this one. If you've got someone that's gonna be having a baby, you can make even a little sign for them to be able to have and announce how old the baby is each month, but that's a whole nother project. All right, so I'm going to take my inks. Now, you've got two. You've got a dark blue and you've got a white. You can blend these and you can make lighter colors. A lot of people don't realize that, as well as being able to blend them when you're working on this particular art. So we're not doing a piece of furniture, we're making art today. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to take a little bit of this dark navy ink and I'm just going to lay it on a spreader. You're going to get a spreader in your kit. I want to come back, be sure that these are water-based inks, but make sure you keep the tops on them. This will last you 2.5, 3 years if you'll just keep the top on it and make sure it doesn't get dried out. Now, you can come back, and when you're working on this with the ink, I don't want you to put the blue everywhere. Let's just kind of come in here and there like this, because we're going to blend it some with some white. And when you're pressing this in, I want you to not just lay it on top of the stencil, I want you to push it through. Because remember, as you're going to notice through this mesh, it needs to go pushed through to the surface below. You don't want to just lay it on top. We've got to push it through. This is kind of like silk screening, but we're able to create the art on it. So I don't want you to do it everywhere. Leave a little bit of open space, because guess what we're going to do? We're going to come back with our white ink and we're going to blend it. So now I've got a clean piece. You can just easily wash these with just some water, but I'm going to come back with my white ink like this. And I'm going to lay in, can you see that? I'm going to lay in the white in some of the areas where I did not, we call this negative space, where I didn't lay in the blue first. So come back and lay in that white where you didn't do any blue. Then you can even come on top of the blue like this, here and there, not everywhere, and then that way you're going to blend them. So I'm going to take just a little bit of a rag like this. I'm going to wipe this off because I want to make sure that I've got a nice clean surface. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to blend it like this. All right. Now, and you want to make sure that you do them all kind of different. Some can be a little darker. Look at that. Can you see what you've done? You're going to do this. So now the feather, you know, how many times have you looked at a feather and it feels iridescent, or it's never all the same? That's part of why you want to be able to blend that so it feels like a natural feather. All right, so I'm going to lay that off to the side. I've got some water and I'm going to show you. I'm going to put this over here real quick. And I've just got a little Tupperware container or whatever. You can see we use this here all the time at the studio. And I'm going to pop this stencil in this water and I'm going to clean it. Now notice how I've got just a regular sponge. I like working with seawool sponges. And I'm just taking this, there's no soap here, it's just water. And I'm just rubbing it on top of that stencil to be able to get it clean. So that way I can just wipe it off like this. And then I'm going to lay this down on top of the counter. This is the adhesive side, this is the sticky side. And I'm gonna lay it up on a counter like this, and I'm gonna let it air dry. Now, when you're working with the inks, you can very easily do all 3 of these at one time. It's not gonna be a problem. So you will actually be cleaning it when you're completely finished with your project. So I wanted to be able to show you how to be able to clean the stencil, and then you're gonna put it back with the backing and put it in a little bag, and you're gonna be able to use it on a lot of different projects. You can use it over and over again. Now, so this is the one that we had done here. I've got one that's dried just a little bit, same thing. I've cut it down so that way it can fit inside my picture frame here. You know, the fun thing about it is, and I just want to give you a little tip, the fun thing about it is you can also come back, if you're not familiar with another product that we have here at a Maker Studio. We have some size, and this doesn't come in this kit, but you could definitely do it as an add-on. You can come back and take a little bit of size, dip your artist brush that comes in your kit. I'm going to offload it just a little bit. Always offload it, you don't want to have too much on here. And you can come back and just kind of lay here and there a little bit of gold. You don't want to overdo it. In this instance, it's just best for it to be more of an accent. And then you want to let this dry for about, say, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, just to come to what we call a tack. I've got some other YouTube videos that you can watch, and it goes a lot more into gilding. And then with the gold leaf like this, it's going to come in a larger pack when you purchase it, and it's going to have 25 sheets in it. So you're going to pull it up like this, and you're going to lay it down, and then you want to burnish it to the paper. Add just a little bit down here too, and then burnish this in like this. You can come back with your brush once it's dry and clean it off. So you've got just a little bit of gold that's going to stick here and there on your piece of art. Doesn't that look good? So fun! This is when your friends are going, oh, I'm not creative. I can't make art like that. You're going, yes, you can. Let's all order this kit together. Let's make our own art. We'll share the size and the leaf, and then we'll put it in here, and we're going to have beautiful art to be able to put on our wall. How gorgeous is that? Now, part of the other reason why we put an artist brush in this kit for you is because if you have a mat that has an edge on it like these do, just take a little bit of water and your ink. I'm going to show you in just a second how to mix that up, and come around and just lay in a blue color or a darker blue. We came in with a middle value blue, so it pulls out those colors in your feather art. Don't you love that? Now, you know, the fun thing is you may, I'm really loving that with that leaf. That's really pretty. So you can just do that as an add-on when you buy this kit to be able to go in and add that. You can also come back. I want to just be able to show you. I'm going to take this out. Take that mat out. So when you want to be able to tint the mat to be able to have an accent color, just take a little bit of your ink like this. Just put a dab, just a little dot of it in a container, a little paper, plastic or glass container. Add just a little bit of water like that. Take your artist brush and blend it. Look at that. Love that. You know, the great thing about it is these inks can be used on paper, they can be used on fabric, so you can be doing this same look on fabric too. Yes, it's addictive. It just goes on forever. It's so much fun. So I don't have that indentation like those other mats did, but I just want to show you, you can come back and just lay it in, and then that way you've got some type of banding, that you've got that beautiful, rich, thin ink look on in creating a mat with some detail. You could do that on the inside, you can do it on the outside, but that way it'll pull that blue out on your project. So hopefully this was fun to be able to see how versatile the products here are at a maker studio. You'll start learning more and more. You'll see how versatile they are, how fun they are, how easy they are, because we want you to be able to transform your homes. We want to transform the way you give gifts. We want to transform how you get together. We are all about community here at a maker studio. We would love for you to order these kits, have all the stuff together, go get some frames at Habitat, and get together and have an evening of making things and connecting as friends and making new friends. So hopefully this was fun. We have these kits in stock. We'll be shipping them out today if you place an order with us, and tune in for next Monday when we're going to be showing you a brand new project. Have a great week.